Okay, this week's Coronation Street then. It was all right, I thought. Solid week is my assessment of this week's. What did you reckon?
Wow.
That good, eh?
I don't really know what happened.
Well, you watched it.
I watched every single episode and I was paying attention. And then you'd say, "What did they just say?" And I'd be,
You had work stuff to take your mind off Coronation Street this week, shall we say? Deadline week. Anyway, so we had a wedding this week. So
I know, we had a wedding this week.
Big,
that should be a big deal.
Yeah, we had characters leaving left, right, and centre, and we had a few builds up to things next week. So we'll start off with the wedding, the something old, something new, something Scottish and Sarah Lou story, and we might as well stick all the Daniel and Bethany stuff in there as well with that.
Might as well.
Then I am going to. Where I think we should talk about the "Don't Marry Her, Have Me" story, which isn't that story. It's the other wedding storyline, the Gary and Maria and Ali stuff that kind of ramped up. It's been kind of bubbling away all week, but that's looking like it's getting somewhere ready for next week. Then we'll go over the Nazirs. Then Jade has left the programme. We'll talk about it next. Step Off is the storyline title for that one, which always makes me think of that bit in School of Rock when they say "step off," which is that's that one and only place I've ever heard that phrase.
Does that mean is that like a dance move, or are you like stepping off of a building to your death?
Step off means go away.
Step off, like, are you starting?
I don't know.
A new beginning in a dance.
Who knows? But then we'll do a bit of the Nina Musina story, which has some nice little bits with her and Roy.
Moves in, not Stop Nina move. No, but you said it like Nina Musina, which sounds like some kind of new muesli that I'd never heard of.
We've had this the last time we talked about this storyline. No. It's a perfectly serviceable storyline title.
Ginger Jogger.
It's just the best I could come up with at short notice for that.
What can you do?
I did that. It was like
it's fine.
I could have made the storyline title about Imran. I mean, I'm guessing this is a Craig story. But, I mean, a story about Imran, about running, the title just writes itself, doesn't it?
What do you mean?
Well, Imrunner, something along those. But I think this is a Craig story here, with Imran being dragged along. And then we get a little bit more of this bailout story with the Baileys.
I don't believe.
Seems to be ramping up to something next week because not really anything happened today.
That Imran is any stranger to exercise. You don't get a bod like that just sitting on the sofa watching Corrie, do you? I don't know. Well, you certainly don't. Right,
hey.
Something new, something Scottish, and Sarah Lou. Who wants to do this one? You?
Yeah, go on, then I'll do this one.
Right,
so it started
we've got 20 minutes. Go. Tell me about it.
No, we have not got 20 minutes. We've got longer
than that.
Tell me about
it.
Right, we got Gail and Audrey mothering about at the beginning of the week about whether this wedding is going to take place because all the hoo-ha between Daniel and Bethany, and that's may overshadow the wedding of the century between Corrie's new golden couple, Adam and Sarah Louise. But they say, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be all right. So Adam finds Daniel packing up for London because he's decided that he's moving away, follow Bethany to pursue her dream as being the next... Give me
What is she doing?
Magazine writer. She's
next Gemma Cox.
And he's getting rid of a load of Sinead's stuff as well because he can't take it with you. So
he said it would be a bit weird to take it with him, and he is not wrong. But it's also a bit weird to get rid of it, so maybe you shouldn't go.
Yeah, a bit of a catch-22. If he'd taken it with her, you just know there'd be some weird situations where he tries to persuade Bethany to dress up as Sinead.
Like, you really want to wear
Can you put on the voice as well, Bethany? Go on.
Patchwork pair of dungarees with chintzy, I don't know, pocket flap.
So maybe it's for the best that he gets rid of it, and he's giving a bag of personal stuff to Beth. They've stuck it all in bin bags, and straight away it's like
way to safeguard your belongings.
Well, as soon as we saw him deliver Sinead's clothes to outside Beth's in bin bags, and like the big skips were just in the background, the dumpsters or whatever, you know what was going to happen there. Sarah, there's a bit of pre-wedding angst between Sarah and Adam because of him. He couldn't keep his mouth shut about the Bethany moving to London thing last week, which kind of ruined her hen night a little bit. But he comes around later and they kind of get things sorted. Kel surprise, Beth comes home, finds the bin bags outside her front door, gets Kirk to throw them in the bin because,
Well, maybe we should actually check, because we've got a load of rubbish that people keep dumping outside of our
outside our garage. There's a load of other people's There might be, yeah.
It might be gifts to us.
Yeah,
Maybe
we need to look through it properly. So Craig finds Bethany sulking around in the community garden and he basically says, sort yourself out, woman. Get yourself over to your mum's wedding and stop sulking. Everything's going to be okay. So Adam...
Yeah, because they'd fallen out, hadn't they? Because Craig was being quite cold to her last week.
Yeah.
But I think he's sort of saying a little bit of what Ed was saying in a much more tactful way. Hate the sin and not the sinner.
Yeah.
Only it works this time because she's actually doing something wrong, whereas being gay is fine.
So it doesn't take long for Kirk to realise, thanks to Emma, I think, that this bin bag of stuff that he's dumped and is now on its way to the tip was actually Sinead's all of her
worldly belongings.
When they say, I think when they said it's personal belongings, it's like, are they giving her Sinead sexy knickers or anything? You know that scene where she dressed herself up to seduce Daniel in Underworld's finest?
When you're talking about a woman's actual personal belongings, you're not talking about negligee and teddy.
Is it all that unused tampons?
Yeah, it's packs of tampons, like special pads with wings, loads of lip balms, all those tiny little moisturisers that you get from hotels that you never use but you won't throw away. And like, for some reason, there's always a sleep mask that you never use but you got it on a plane and you don't want to get rid of it. And
a wedding ring, it turns out.
And some tiny little crumbs of nuts and bits of biscuits that always end up in the bottom of your handbag.
So, Kurt goes back to get all this stuff, but it is bin day. And he has a go quite unfairly at Daniel for being ashamed of himself. He says you should be ashamed of yourself for trashing Sinead's stuff. He's kind of is almost implying that Daniel, cut out the middleman and threw it in the dumpster himself.
I've all the way through this, I hold my hand up. I am firmly on everybody's side who wants to have a go at Daniel.
Oh yeah.
Why would you dump somebody's stuff on a doorstep in bin bags?
He put a note on it.
Did he put a note on it?
He wrote a note on brown
Please
paper.
throw me away.
I can't remember what he did with the note. I don't know whether he put it on Beth's door or whether he put it inside the bag, which maybe wasn't the most sensible idea.
Literally, there was no reason to get rid of it instantly. He could have just held on to it and texted her or phoned her or waited to see her and said, here you go, here's Sinead's things. You don't need to put them outside, especially in Manchester in the middle of March when it's raining and freezing cold all the bloody time.
Well,
what an absolute
twonk.
Well,
Kirk and Beth should have had a little look.
Michael,
what's the last that could have happened? What's the worst thing that could have happened? Like, be full of rubbish and a rat jump out in their face.
They already said that people leave rubbish on their doorstep. Why would they go through it again? This is like if we went into the bins and gone, well, upstairs might have thrown away all their stuff in it. We better just check it before I put our mouldy tea bags on the top.
All right, fine.
If it's just lying around on the floor and it's in a bin bag and it's near a bin.
But maybe he thought, he thought they're going to look through this and go, wow, it's a bin. We need to root around along the top of it just in case there's a secret pregnancy test on top. Because that's what usually happens. Whenever they show bin bags any other time, they can't help themselves but have a look to find the mysterious pregnancy tests.
Maybe they were banking on Nina coming and having a little bit of a rummage through.
Yeah, exactly.
Although she wouldn't have got very far in Sinead stuff, would she?
No, I don't think they really had the same fashion sense, did they?
Doilies.
Although she probably could have used some of Sinead's candles for some of her satanic rituals.
I don't think she's satanic.
I still haven't quite...
You haven't quite grasped the goth way of life, but it's okay, we'll get there.
So anyway, what's going on?
Well, Kirk has a go.
What?
Kirk has a go, and I'm behind him going, yeah, you tell him. You should be ashamed of yourself.
So we cut to the wedding, and it's in some fancy hotel.
Kirk's told Beth, and she's going to the wedding, so she's mad about this.
She's livid, but Kirk has to sort it out.
Great.
So Bethany kind of schmoozes down the aisle with Lily and Harry.
Another traditional Coronation Street hotel / registry office.
But it was a different one. I mean,
wedding.
There was no blue Merrick, which is
when's the last time anyone
points.
got married in the church? Half
You have to come back to me on that one.
Half the wedding congregation would burst into flames if they tried to set foot in a church. So I'm not really surprised that I did it in a hotel.
I thought it was quite a nice venue. We'll talk more about that later. So anyway, Bethany arrives as well and gives Daniel evils. Sarah comes down the aisle looking very clavacious in her
clavacious
in her low-cut wedding
she did,
attire.
didn't she?
And she had David and Nick walking her down the aisle, which is quite nice because I mean I think I said to somebody on Twitter who was wondering why Martin wasn't there to give Sarah away.
No cheese to sell.
No. I think maybe it was more the fact that they've only seemed to have been engaged for 5 minutes and not long enough to get the flight back from Australia where he emigrated to. Or was it New Zealand that he went to last year?
I don't know. Why do they like more cheese?
You're confusing him with Sean Ward. Not Sean Ward.
You're confusing him with Shane Ward.
Shane Ward. Sean Ward. What's his name?
I'll tell you what.
Sean Ward is Callum, isn't it?
Steve Martin.
Oh man, I forgot what the name of the actor's called who plays Martin.
Go look at the book on the wall.
Gonna have a look at his cheese book. What's his name? Find out for me.
Martin Clegg.
No, it's really embarrassing. You find out for me on the iPad. What's he called? It's Sean something.
Sean Wilson.
Yes, it is Sean Wilson, isn't it? Is it? Joe was... Sorry.
You don't expect me to know anything.
So they do their vows and stuff, and Bethany has a look over at Daniel because he's... The romance of the day is getting into him, and it's reminding him that, the last wedding he went to was his own to his dear dead wife. Beth is vile. She causes a scene before stropping out of the place. And
Sean Wilson.
Thank you. Well done, Gemma. You are the ultimate Corrie fan.
I am not very good at my names, and everybody knows that. And if you make fun of me for not knowing names and not being able to call names instantly to my mind, you are basically making fun of somebody who's got brain damage, because that's probably what's wrong with me.
Yeah. Anyway, Craig also tells Bethany that Daniel's a car crash waiting to happen before following Beth out. So she's not the most popular person.
It's not even a really
today.
Cool car crash, like in a sports car going down the motorway at 100 miles an hour. It's like a sad
It's like when
one.
David
backing into a lamppost in your Vauxhall Corsa.
So Peter and Adam find Daniel looking a bit maudlin out in the stairwell later on, and they check he's okay and says, look, you can go if you want to, and he's like, no, I need to give my speech.
This was in the blooper reel.
It was in the blooper reel that appeared on Twitter.
And you told me this was
ago.
from Sinead's funeral.
I know, it was wrong. So he does his speeches, and Daniel's not really chosen the best thing because it's an extract for some lovey-dovey letter that this Macintosh bloke who they're basing the wedding on wrote to his wife, or the other way around, and it's basically saying, wouldn't it be sad when you're gone and I miss you, and
the worst thing I can imagine is my wife
sad
dying
when I'm
of
apart
cancer.
from you or something, and yeah, it's all a bit close to the bone really, and basically Daniel.
Where do you pick it?
I don't know.
Hello everybody, I'd like to talk about myself in this speech.
He pretty much makes it all about him, and everyone's like, yes, well done, Daniel, you made it through. But yeah, as soon as he's the centre of attention, he finishes it off, and Bethany's there looking very awkward. Dancing time. Tracy is the next in line to take a pop at Bethany for messing around with Daniel's head. Audrey gets rid of Tracy and then says, right, it's my turn, Bethany. What the hell are you doing with this Daniel? She's not wrong. Sarah comes along next. It's just like basically a line of people waiting to tell Bethany that she's being an idiot by getting involved with Daniel.
I would have preferred it if they all had a go with a white glove that they slapped her on the cheek with.
Pull yourself together, lady. But Bethany doesn't. She just says, let's have a dance, Daniel. Let's bop away. So they do. Morning on Wednesday. Bethany's there in Daniel's flat. He checks again. Look, you sure that this is what you want? We're going to go down to London and everything. And she's like, well, yeah, maybe. Are you sure? You're still grieving over Sinead, really, aren't you? So eventually, it looks like the message that everybody has been saying to Bethany is starting to get through to her, and she's realising that maybe he's not quite ready
this isn't a brilliant idea
to move on to a new life with her. Hooray! They found the bin bags at the tip. Kurt comes round with them, and he gives an envelope to Daniel with was it a wedding ring in? With her wedding ring in.
Yeah, he doesn't know what it is. He opens it and it falls out and sort of lands on the table, and he kind of whoa.
You're right. He probably should have kept that. I can understand him not really wanting some of the bigger, the items of clothing or the dressing gown or whatever.
Apart from anything else, can I just point out the idiocy of putting items that are valuable in bin bags on the street where anyone could take them. Even if you're so stupid that you don't realise the connection between bin bags and a bin on bin day next to a massive bin, surely you can understand that perhaps somebody else might see that there's something valuable in there and take it.
Silly man.
He's pathologically stupid.
He goes to the pub with Adam and says, I think Bethany's having second thoughts about this. Sarah's also having a word with Bethany and saying, look, cool your jets, love. This is a massive change to your life. Are you sure that this is exactly what you want? The message is slowly seeping through to Bethany.
Drip coffee.
Daniel, meanwhile, is getting himself leathered. Adam says, look, why don't you just try and make it long distance for now? Bethany in London, you stay up here with us. And Daniel's like, I see what you're saying, Adam. You're saying that I should propose to Bethany, yeah? Just to make this official and everything. And I was like, no, you pillock. What the hell are you doing? But before he goes to the bar to get a drink. And when he turns around, Daniel's scarpered and is outside, where is it? It's outside Bethany's flat, isn't it? He's by the tree next to the salon. And he is yelling up a proposal to Bethany. Or should I say, to Sinead. I can't remember the wording of it. It's like, will you marry me, Sinead? And I
was like, oh wait, what did he just say?
I didn't pick it up straight away. It took me a beat to realise the fact that he's been, fantasising about her as Sinead. It's like, it almost didn't register to me.
Because I'm so used to saying Sinead and Bethany in the same sentence these days.
Yeah. But anyway, Bethany doesn't take this quite so well. She's somewhat insulted by being proposed to in this manner and heads inside. Daniel has a little tussle with Adam, which results in the ring flying out of his hands into the road, where it promptly gets run over by a passing car. Adam, towards the end of the episode, we have Daniel and Bethany having a tete-a-tete at number one, both agreeing that this is all a bit of a mess, really. And Bethany finally pulls up the courage to say, you know what, Daniel, I don't think this is going to work.
This is a stupid idea.
I'm going to London on my own. I'm going today.
But wait
David's hired a van for all my stuff.
Presumably, this isn't going to work, because when they said they were going to move to London together, they obviously did the sensible thing, considering they've got a baby to look after, and rented themselves somewhere appropriate to stay that they could move into immediately.
No, well, they weren't going to go straight away, and I think they made a thing of saying that I think they've magically found someone in London.
No, she's staying with somebody's friend.
Yeah.
Whatever, what a load of rubbish.
So anyway, they say their goodbyes, and she goes. Craig turns up for a nice little goodbye as well, the one that got away. And Daniel tries one more time to convince Bethany
he promised him
go with her.
You really don't want to marry me.
Yeah, and she's like, no, look, you need to look after Bertie now. He's the most important thing in your life, not me. David drives her off, and Daniel has a good old cry round the corner, and that is the end of Bethany. But not the end of the story.
Bethany.
We have one more day left of this. So Daniel starts the day fondling Sinead's ring.
Good job, she's
That
dead.
sounded a bit rude. And tells Adam, maybe now I can miss her.
For God's sake, man. I can't believe that line. That line was so insulting.
We all grieve in different ways.
That line was so insulting, considering the amount of people who've been trying to tell me for months that, no, this is Daniel moving on. Told you that he wasn't over her and he had to grieve her before he could move on.
Yes.
No, nobody listened to me. This is obviously stupid.
Daniel then goes over to Beth and Kirk saying, can I have a stuff back, please? It's like he's going to the next door, he's kicked his ball over. It's like, can I have it back, please?
I'd say, no, you have to pay me storage then. And petrol for chasing the bin back.
Over the course of the episode, Beth kind of begins to thaw a bit towards Daniel, and she grants him audience in the cafe later, although she's still like, I think we were supposed to, like Beth by the end of the episode. And
I liked her all along because Daniel's being an idiot.
But she's just so horrible about it.
Yeah, well, I'd be horrible too.
She's just chewing a wasp.
Yeah, I would be horrible like this. This is how I would be.
She's like, I'm still not going to forgive you.
No, I wouldn't.
But she kind of gives a look to say, maybe I'm being a massive cow.
No, never back down.
She's right, and like you said, I can completely understand why she's so mad at Daniel. She just is mad in the most horrible of ways.
Why would you be mad in a nice way? Thank you for crushing my hopes and dreams and trying to take my what is it, grandnephew, whatever he is, away from me, even though that's the only thing keeping me going, after you disrespected and trashed the memory of my niece who died horribly from cancer in your arms? I'll be nice about it, though. Do you want a cup of tea? I'll pay for it.
So you're Team Beth, then?
Yeah, I'm
Fine.
Team Beth.
Fine. We have
Good for her. Somebody's got to stand up for... Look, Sinead's dead, Michael. Sinead died.
True.
Nobody's standing up for her, not even her husband.
Someone's got to.
Someone's got to stand up. And if I die and you move on 5 months later, I want some horrible bitch following you around, giving you dirty, evil looks, trying to make you feel like the scum of the earth.
Oh, fine.
And if I
you
need
get
to
anyone in mind?
If I need to put some money in an envelope and put it somewhere that somebody can pick it up to do that job.
Tell you what, I don't want it to be your crazy aunt. I've heard rumours about her.
No, she's actually legitimately crazy.
I know. So Ken and Tracy and Peter, after having had a little chat about, Ken says, when Val died, when Deirdre died, I didn't know how to react. We need to go around there and help him through this. And their plan is to just go away, go up to Scotland, let somebody else deal with you in a castle.
I know that this is a soap, and they have to do things a certain way, and that therapy, etc., is really a laborious process, and they can't show it, etc. I'm getting a little bit sick of people getting shipped off to therapy.
I know, it seems to be the answer
getting
to
cured
everything.
And coming back like it's some kind of it's like it's a laboratory. You just get a few wires kind of fixed and soldered back in again.
Yeah, I mean, we had Billy,
back.
we've had Carla,
Peter.
Yeah, Jenny. Now Daniel. Yeah, it's just the excuse to say these actors have been working very hard recently. Let's not have them in some episodes for a while, and we don't need to show their recovery.
They do really hard work.
Shona.
They do really hard work for mental health, and then they throw it all away by going, and then they go to therapy, and then they get fixed, and they just don't bother showing it.
Yeah. I mean, there's still a long way to go for Daniel.
To be fair, I'd rather Daniel just buggered off and sorted himself out, because I'm actually sick of him.
He's been in the spotlight a lot these past
boring.
4 or 5 months, and I'm not disappointed that we're having a bit of a break from Daniel now, because I just when he comes back, thing is do you think when he comes back he is going to be over it? Is he going to have realised? I mean, because he was starting to say today, wasn't he? Look, I was just replacing Sinead with Bethany.
It's like he's been listening to the podcast.
And everybody else. So I would hope that he'd be more back to his normal self. I mean, he's still going to have the tough job of bringing up Bertie by himself.
No, not for very much. Not for long.
Why?
Because he's going to jump in bed with someone else seconds after he lands on the doorstep.
Maybe being in...
He's got to get his family tree out, make sure he's not related to him first, because it's quite a high likelihood these days, considering that the Weatherfield family trees are getting roots are tangled up.
Well, if Daniel's anything like his dad, he's going to come back without Bertie. He's going to have left him with an old auntie somewhere or other.
That is the tradition.
One of the old Tatlock clan that's up there.
Why not? Let's just set aside the fact that it's ludicrous to the idea that Beth would give up work to go to Scotland to stay presumably in a hotel B&B or Airbnb for weeks on end until Daniel's gotten over his grief.
Well, she's got to do something while she's doing her dancing on ice, hasn't she?
I like also the way that we find out Ken's paying for this when he wouldn't pay for Peter to go to therapy, and it was Claudia that had to pay for it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Adam's next.
It seemed odd. I thought it was nice but odd how Beth was offering to go with him.
I'll tell you why.
When she did,
because he said the magic words. You're right.
It seemed like she was. It still felt that she was like saying, "Oh, fine, I suppose I'll come with you."
No, I think she just thought, "Great, I get to be with Bertie."
Yeah,
but let's not forget also she's grieving too. Now she's separated from her husband, fake husband, and all of her family. And Craigie, that she was trying to say, "Oh, you're the most important thing in the world to me," and the next minute she's going to Scotland without him to look after someone else's baby. Let's not dwell.
I would have just liked to have that scene in the cafe between Beth and Daniel, I would have liked her to have let her guard down a bit, but she still came across as being a bit coward.
Yeah, maybe she cried.
And if I was Daniel, I'd be like, I don't really want to go to Scotland with you.
No, I know. I don't know why you want to go to Scotland with her.
They didn't really
he didn't
make
even
up.
have a hug because she tried to hug him and then he had sick on his shoulder.
Baby sick on his shoulder. Yeah, it felt like they're just going to go there and she's still going to be resenting him.
No, they're going to come back and it's going to be like they don't even speak to each other ever again. They won't even mention what happened. It will be like when Rana went on that cruise with her mum and they came back and they didn't mention it.
What did you make of the wedding then, Gemma?
It was lovely. It was magical and beautiful.
Did you? I mean, I quite liked that it was different because
how was it different?
Well, you know, the theming, it was all jazzy and Sarah's dress was a bit different and it was all like flappery themed, wasn't it? You know, it was all Art Nouveau-ish. I quite like that. People didn't I heard people on the internet saying that they didn't like the jazz version of that song that they came down the aisle to, but I didn't know what the song was originally, so I couldn't really tell. I thought it was quite a classy do, really, but it was...
Makes a change from having your wedding being wedding themed, I suppose, but...
Exactly. I did think that the A and the S that was on the windows looked a bit like the American Horror Story logo.
Yeah,
that
was waiting for somebody to die.
That was a little bit distracting.
It was fine. It was nice. It was another wedding.
I just didn't, as I said, as I've said in the past on the podcast, I'm not really buying the Sarah and Adam relationship, and it's not like we've seen this romance blossom.
This is yet another relationship that makes both of the people in it less interesting.
I don't think it.
Adam and Sarah are both really fine. I quite like both of them. Remember how excited we were when Sarah came back? She was great. Remember how fun Adam used to be when he was rivals with Daniel, even though that seemed to only happen for like 2 weeks. I felt like we were getting the Baldwin versus Barlow feud reignited.
That's what they're trying to do with Gary, though.
Bland married couple. Well done, congratulations.
I haven't minded Adam this week with the stuff that his involvement in the Gary story, but I just don't know what they're like as a couple, and I can imagine that we'll never find out exactly. I can't imagine we're going to see very much of those, you know, as husband and wife. I'm already starting to count down the days, weeks, months until their marriage crashes and burns. How long do you give it, Gemma? If you were to, you know, place it, how many years are Adam and Sarah going to stay together? 3? Yeah, I mean... Maybe they'll have a baby and then wouldn't be surprised. Maybe have a baby. I wouldn't be surprised if Sarah was going to have another crack at Gary as well, to be honest. I think they're still, even though she's saying that she's given up on him, it wouldn't surprise me if she... falls into the arms of Adam's love, rival. Yeah, we know that Adam is playing a dangerous game, taunting Gary at the end of the week. So, I'm sure Gary would have been happy to just let them get on with it. But now Adam's messing with his life. He might decide to try to see if he can break them up. Don't know. The whole stuff with the bin bags disappearing to the tip was. I would say unnecessary extra drama. I think it just made Beth look even cowier. I think it made them all look stupid. Why would you leave personal things, including a gold wedding ring, in a bin bag on someone's doorstep without telling them it was there? With me, it just made me think I wish they'd gone the whole hog and had them searching around the tip. And back in the early 80s, there was an episode of Corrie where Stan and Hilda and Eddie accidentally throw away some clothes or something, and they have half the episode with just those 3 characters rooting around in the tip, and it was hilarious because they showed us that we went to the Corrie Fest. How would you feel? I'd almost like to have seen that, although then I probably would have thought it wouldn't have held a candle to the original. How would you feel if your dad texted you and said, just to let you know, I left some of your mum's stuff in a bin bag by the hedge, did you get it? And you said, what, that stuff that I threw in the bin a week ago because I thought it was rubbish because it's near the bin. Would you be a bit mad at him for putting your mum's stuff in a bin bag near the bin? Yeah. Yeah, a little bit maybe. I still think I might have had a little look to see what it was. Whether I'd recognised it or not, I don't know. Stupid. I think for me the best bit of this week was the proposal scene, just for the shock of him getting the name wrong. I'm glad that they kind of ended with, yes, he's not got over Sinead, and because there was times during this story I was worrying that we were supposed to think that this was, good for him and all that.
Yeah, I'm glad that they actually acted. Oh, I don't know. The whole thing annoys me.
It was when after Sinead died, they could have ended the story there, couldn't they? But there's been this little coda to it with the.
I don't know how realistic. This is the thing. Yeah. Tackling this issue of when is it a good time to be over somebody, and when can you date again, and should people be judged? That was not what this was about, because it was clearly a stupid idea from the very beginning. A nuanced discussion of when is it okay for somebody to move on after the death of their spouse is actually an important and interesting topic that you can look at from many different angles. But there was no other angle to this. It was literally a stupid idea because he was hallucinating. He's clearly unhappy. He wasn't over her. Bethany was in no fit state to judge this properly at all. She wouldn't listen to anybody. All the life experience she's ever had has been negative. She's been chasing this dream of like an older guy to look after her, and all she finds is abuse and gaslighting and people using her. And Daniel was using her. I don't know what people think was going on, but he was using her to pretend that Sinead wasn't dead, to sort of stupefy his brain into believing that it hadn't happened.
And she was quite happy to be used because she'd got this little obsession with him.
She turned herself into a doormat. Like she couldn't do more. She couldn't do enough for him.
Would you say then that Bethany has left on a bit of a low for the character?
No, she left on a high because she told him to get stuffed.
I'm glad that she did in the end.
Good for her, because she needs to. Bethany's story should have been searching for self-worth, and I felt like at the end of it, I never really felt like she triumphantly went on to the next stage in her life. I felt like she kind of like had a mini triumph, but she still hasn't learned that she doesn't need a guy.
I
don't know, it just drives you crazy. This bit, Bethany transforming herself from sex trafficking victim into journalist, having a placement in London, and leaving this sleepy little suburb off to go somewhere to make a name for herself in journalism. That should have been like the really cool ending to a tragic story. If you were reading this, if this was a novel of someone's life, this could be like, a book about like a plucky young girl finding her way in the world, and that would be the ending, and you'd go, that was really good. At the end, she went off and she started a new life. No, instead it's all under a cloud because of Daniel throwing Sinead's ring under a bus.
Well, I mean, I still don't know whether it's going to be the last we've seen of Bethany. I'd be surprised if she doesn't return. I think Lucy Fallon has said as much, but she's spreading her wings and wants to try other things. So I really don't mind the fact that she's gone. Bethany, I think, was a good character. I think she was as well, but I mean, the highlight was always going to be the Nathan storyline.
Yeah.
That's what she's going to be remembered for.
I think she floundered, and I think they didn't really find a purpose for her character. And it's a shame that her kind of social justice crusade didn't really get teased out very strongly. Just kind of all fell to nothingness because Ray's still molesting people in the bistro, and her triumphant move just, as I said, was under a cloud. But
she ended up coming across as a bit kind of bratty and entitled as well.
She came across like she really genuinely doesn't understand that you can't just write a load of unsubstantiated rumours on the internet and call it journalism.
Well, managed to get her a job.
Yeah, she never said what magazine she was working for, though, did she?
No.
I can tell you there's quite a lot of useless ones out there, like Puzzle Weekly.
I liked it when they were packing her off, and somebody or other says, "Oh, well done for all you've achieved," and Nick is like, "What has she achieved?"
I love that bit. That made me laugh. Good old Nick.
Just can't keep it inside his head, can he? He just says what he's thinking. That's why we love him.
He's like, I think Blanche has possessed him.
Right, so let's do the Gary and Maria storyline then, Gemma.
Okay, so on Monday, Gary comes over to the Barbers. He wants to talk about the wedding with
Maria.
He doesn't care about the one that's going on. David's being sarcastic and said he's only wants to talk about it because it's Adam and Sarah's wedding day. Emma doesn't really pick up when Maria is being hesitant when she starts asking if she wants to actually marry Gary. Then Gary goes to the Barbers to see Maria. He's got some flowers. Is this the bit where they talk to Dev about who owns the salon and who owns the hairdressers?
That was the kind of thing where it's like Corrie's acknowledging the fact that it's ridiculous that Maria owns the other salon and Audrey... No, it's Maria and Claudia own the salon, but Maria's working in the Barbers. Audrey owns the Barbers, but she's working in the salon, and it's clearly a mess, and sometimes Coronation Street you just need to keep quiet about it.
I think sometimes they try to be... They try to make a joke of it, and it doesn't work because it's their own doing, so it's like... And
it's a shame, because Corrie clearly is unable to juggle, and it doesn't have the room for two salons, does it?
They just need to get rid of some of these businesses. There's too many businesses.
Well, especially two businesses that are doing the same thing.
I get rid of the salon. I think it's probably just a nostalgia. They don't want to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Get rid of the salon. Keep the barber shop. Get rid of the bistro. Keep the pub.
I really, really think they should get rid of the bistro. Barely anybody that the main characters even work there anymore, do they? Who actually works there? Does Daniel still work there?
Daniel,
Faye,
Daniel's gone. Faye's the only one left. Ray, the rapist.
Faye is literally the only main character, and that's
pushing it.
Yeah.
I just hope that Ray's dastardly evil plans end up with somebody blowing up the bistro, and then they decide just to not open it anymore.
Yeah. And similarly, like we said with the salon and the Barbers, they can't sustain the bistro and the Rovers because the Rovers has just been sidelined, utterly sidelined since Jenny and Johnny have taken over.
It's Speed Dial too.
Yeah.
Get rid of the bistro, keep Speed Dial and the Rovers. Because we have, like you say, we haven't seen anything of Jenny and Johnny. Do you remember when Toya was the landlady of the Rovers? She was in every scene. And now Jenny's the landlady. And when do you see her?
Never, although we did have that funny scene with her and Emma this week where Emma's trying to guess how old she was on her birthday and she's guessed 58. That was quite funny. The cafe's another one. There seems to be like 10 times as many scenes in the cafe as there are in the pub. And it just doesn't feel right.
No,
it really doesn't.
I don't know whether they're
I don't know whether that's just me being nostalgic and pining for the good old days, but it really, the Rovers should be the centre.
And they should start they should start diversifying it a bit and make them serve more food and stuff. Because honestly, they've got so many sets that do the same thing. They don't need all these sets.
It's because they've got so many characters and they need somewhere for them to work.
I know. Anyway, Gary goes to the Barbers with some flowers for Maria, and she says, well, I don't mind having a small wedding, and he says, no, I want it to be a day to remember, which sounds like something for the front of the soap magazines. On Wednesday, Adam and Gary are pissing up a wall together.
Basically, yeah.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah. Adam's like, oh, look at my wedding ring. This could have been on your finger.
Yeah. Okay. Maria goes to see Dr. Gaddas to get her pill sorted out, but it turns out that she's got an emergency on the ring road. She's up to something again, isn't she?
It's Gaddas,
She's off doing her drugs dealing in town or on the lash. Ali's had to be drafted in. Maria refuses to see him and goes to see a nurse. Then he chases after her after the appointment, warning her off Gary, saying it's all end in tears, and she says, I'll report you. Who to? Moira.
Yeah, where's Moira?
I don't know.
Moira and Toya, they're living it up somewhere.
With Dr. Gaddas all trying E.
Yeah.
Dr. Gaddas is like, they gave me this trunk of illegal drugs to show the children what not to take. Which one shall we start with?
I'm sure that Toya could get something, some kind of substance off a spider if she asked him nicely.
I thought you were going to say she could prescribe something, but it will all be just like things to calm your nerves.
Yeah. What was that stuff that I used to have? Rescue remedy.
Yeah, I remember that. Don't have that anymore, do we?
No.
Don't need it. Life's peachy. She goes home. She doesn't mention it to Gary. Adam dupes Ali into revealing that he and Maria had a fling together, and then he says, your secret is safe with me, but when he leaves, he smirks like it's not safe.
Yeah, so he kind of guessed, I think, that something has gone on between Ali and Maria, and he's like, I know all about what happened on Valentine's Day, and Ali's like, how did you know that? And nothing. So yeah,
and he says, you just told me.
Yeah, exactly. So
the Scottish accent on this show is getting better every time we do it.
That was a bit Shrek, I have to say. I didn't mean.
Hey, donkey. On Friday, Gary is at some old bloke's house buying furniture off him because he's got himself in trouble with another loan shark. And who does that turn out to be? But the only other loan shark that we know about in the show who isn't dead, Sharon. She says she was running out of cash. She got desperate. It's the only job she knows how to do. I say, get yourself done Asda, learn how to operate a till. You'll never go hungry again. She invites him to join together. She's like, join together. Forces. It's like Game of Thrones. Our two houses will be even more powerful together. We shall marry our children off. But they don't have kids, so they can't be doing that, can they?
Gary's got one.
Yeah, but
or two or three. I've lost count.
Yeah, but then they're only half-is, you know what I mean? Like, they're all with the mums, aren't they?
Yeah.
He can't just be marrying them off to Sharon's kids.
Yeah, he's got to ask permission from Izzy first and
yeah,
Nicola.
definitely. She says, let's join together. And he says, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm a good boy.
He says, I'm squeaky clean now.
And she asks him for Rick's client list. He says no. He also still being a bleeding heart loan shark because this old guy's like, help me, Mike, got to sell all my furniture.
Oh yeah, and Gary's like, just give me, you can keep your chair so you got something to sit on.
Keep your stuff and here's more money than it's worth.
Yeah.
How is he making money? How is he making money to pay off this kid's school fees? Because he mentions that as well. He's still paying off Rick's kids' school fees.
Yeah, I don't know how much of Rick's money that he's still got from this magical safe. You know, in the
he's
locker.
Got to spend it quick because we're changing the 20s into the new ones, aren't we? With Snapchat on them.
Very true.
Yeah, but watch out, Gary. Adam has a little suspiciously friendly chat with Ali.
Yeah, he's
saying, you should ask Gary about Valentine's Day. That's the other way around.
The other way around. He's talking to Gary.
Gary saying, ask him about that. Maria can't get hold of Gary because he's getting mad, kicking bins in the ginnel. And that, some people don't know what a ginnel is. It's not ghoulies. It's not balls. It's an alleyway. He's not kicking bins in the balls. He's kicking them in the alleyway. I'm surprised he didn't kick it over and then a load more Sinead stuff tumbles out onto the cobbles. Oh, look at this quirky bedspread. Gary goes up to Ryan's flat and threatens him with a wrench. Yeah, he's like, tell me everything you know about your brother. What happened between Ali and Maria? And Ryan's like, I don't know anything. And he's like, did they get together? And he's like, I don't know. Just please, I'm trying to cook this rice. Just leave me alone. I'm trying to cook rice really badly. Gary says, I'm going to hit you with this wrench if I find out you have told me a falsehood. And then Ryan is sad because his rice burnt now. We recognise that wrench. That was the same wrench that they keep in the prop store in Coronation Street. That is the stunt wrench. That was the wrench that Kylie used to clobber Callum. The very same. I mean, I assume it is. I assume they only need to have one stunt wrench. Definitely it's the same one that they killed, the thing he killed Tommy with. I expect it probably was. Because, there's... in the little corner of the prop store, there's a cupboard, isn't there? Like a glass-fronted cupboard, like and it's just got case. A variety of weapons in, and cricket bats and frying pans to murder and things. People. Yeah, so this one I took out, and it's like just like a tough styrofoam kind of material, isn't it? I didn't touch it. It looks really realistic actually, but I'm pretty sure it's the same one. And so, it was funny when I was watching it because when Gary was clonking it against Ryan's head and it was going dong glong, it was like, they put that sound effect in afterwards because actually it would just go splat in real life. Slowly. Behind the scenes info for you there, listeners. Where you get action cam fake out with Ryan following Ali to tell him that Gary knows about him and Maria. Oh, that was quite good. There was we were led to believe that it was actually Gary just about to spring up on Ali, but it was... Because Ali kind of turned around like, whoa! Yeah. And it was actually just Ryan. And Ali's like, I don't care. I'll tell Gary anything he wants to know if he asks me. And Ryan says, oh my God, please don't. It's bad enough as it is. Just don't. Just keep your mouth shut. What about Maria? And what about me if Gary finds out that I was lying earlier? And Ali's like, yeah, okay, fine. Stomps off. But little did they know, Gary was listening right around the corner.
Of course he was.
You know the weird, you know how like Coronation Street that like and Rosamond Street and everything has got such a weird layout in that instead of it just being one street, now it's a street and then you turn left and then you turn right and it's another street. That was really just to facilitate a number of corners that you can lurk around to listen in on people's conversations. That's why I'm glad we live on a close.
Yes.
With trees in the middle, so nobody can sneak up on me when I'm having a loud conversation outside about all my infidelities. Gary finds Maria in the pub. She's whittling on about hen do's. He doesn't say anything, but he's looking like a villain. She gets completely lashed because they were supposed to be celebrating their engagement, and she has been sitting in the pub with a bottle of champagne and waiting for Gary to come back and slowly drinking it all when he doesn't get there. So she's really drunk by the time he comes back, and she goes off to the toilet. Then he phones Sharon up and says, I've changed my mind. I'll give you my client list if you will do me a big favour. And now we have to wonder what that favour is, and does it involve murdering Ali?
Well,
buffing him up a bit.
It's got to be something related to that. I wonder whether, like, has he got a van of his own? I'm just trying to remember. I don't know whether.
Yeah, because they were sitting in the van together. And that's where the man's furniture was being loaded into the back of his van.
Oh yeah, that's right. What could he want from Sharon then? I don't know.
To do with Ali, he's going to get her to beat him up. He's going to get her to beat Ali up. Although I don't know what a woman can do to a man. The best woman in the world. I know that Sharon is a hefty lass and she can definitely hold her own. There's no way that she can beat up a bloke.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Women are not stronger than men.
And even if she does,
this is a biological fact.
Even if she does go after him, you can assume that Ali's going to know that it was Gary that sent him there. I think there's more to it than just that, but I can't put my finger on exactly what it is.
I wouldn't bet money on them coming up with a cleverer plan than literally Sharon turns up and tells Ali to leave Maria alone.
Don't know. Wait and see. I think that this week felt all a bit kind of wait and see-ish. There wasn't a whole lot in this storyline that I was on the edge of my seat with, but I am quite excited to find out what happens. The next stage of this on Monday. It was nice to see Sharon again as well. I didn't know whether we get to see her, that she could have been quietly forgotten about. But I feel sorry for her the way that she's had to stick with the loan shark business, because I always got the impression last year when she was working for Rick that she only did it because she's fallen into this. And
I think that both Gary and Sharon are fooling themselves if they think that they're too noble to do this job, because there clearly is something about both of them. Even though Gary doesn't have a nose for business, they're clearly not. Not everybody can just be a loan shark. You couldn't do it.
No, I couldn't.
I know. Well, that's my point. Sharon and Gary both like to take the money and pretend that they're too good for the job.
I think Sharon isn't as delusioned as Gary is about it. I think she's like, I didn't really want to do it, but I kind of got to.
She doesn't have to.
Well, she thinks that she does.
Get a skill. Make soaps. Sell them on Etsy.
That's her skill. Getting money off of people.
Sell soaps on Etsy.
What did you think about Gary?
Now Sinead's dead, there's a market open.
What did you think about Ali? The scene with him and Ryan, because I felt that he was being incredibly irresponsible and
Ali the whole way through it just seems to have a death wish.
Well, it isn't, and Ryan was right. It's not just a death wish for him. Maria could potentially be in danger. I don't know. What do you think Gary would do? Is he like even though Maria slept?
What he's going to do.
Yeah, but if he was like, you slept with Ali, but I'm going to beat up Ali.
But it seems like we know what he's going to do because he's done it. He knows that Ali and Maria slept together, but he is not doing anything to Maria. He's doing it to Ali. So you know the answer to that question immediately. I think that he thinks that Maria... Gary's like a bit of a family man, right? And he thinks Maria's his ticket into having a normal life.
Yeah. But does he really think that she would stick with him?
This is a man that's been to war, seen his best friend got killed, come back, had PTSD, went crazy, for want of a better word, lost everything. He's been through the ringer. He's murdered a man, all in the pursuit of trying to just have a normal life. Now he's got this girl and she slept with somebody because she's not over him, and you know that Gary's going to blame Ali in his mind for not leaving her alone.
Yeah. Well, I just think that he's delusional if he thinks that Maria's going to stick with him if she finds out that he's responsible for Ali getting beaten up.
Oh, I thought you meant in general. I thought you said something like, the next guy comes along and needs a visa.
No,
she'll be jumping in bed with him.
Because we already saw with that scene at the beginning of the week with Maria and Emma, and Maria didn't seem like she was, really, really committed to this. So I think
Maria and Gary are both trying to get something that they can't have with this relationship. Maria wants the Range Rover, the baby, the nice flat, everything's rose gold and pink and white and marble. And everything's perfect and beautiful. Gary wants a wife and a kid, and a home to come back to, and a proper decent job and a way of earning a living. And both of them are not in a position to be able to provide that for themselves because Gary won't stop being a loan shark and Maria won't stop sleeping around.
I feel that I'm slightly worried for Ryan as well. I mean, for all we know, Gary could punish Ali by taking it out on Ryan, and I think Ali was, like I said, being very irresponsible for saying I don't care who knows when his brother, inverted commas, could get beaten up because of it.
I know. I think Ali just really strikes me as somebody who is given up.
I think after the Dr. Death thing with Ronan, you're right. He doesn't care really. I
think he's just drifting through life, waiting for it to fall down around him.
Yeah,
like he knows. I think he thinks it's all going to come to an end at some point. I might as well just let it happen and watch the fireworks because he killed a man. He's well, and. So, he tried to save the other guy. Then he killed Ronan.
Yeah.
Then he's on drugs. I still don't know whether he's actually on drugs.
I know, I lose track of his.
I think he's probably
habits.
Still on something. He always seems spaced out.
Yeah.
And he just seems like.
And he's got a long hair like a hippie.
Like he's just waiting to check out. And I think he's probably thinking, yeah, come on then, bring it on. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing that I haven't imagined already. So just do it because I'm sick and tired of waiting for it to happen.
So I wonder whether the Ronan thing is going to come out soon. I wonder whether the Rick thing's coming out soon because that was brought up, wasn't it? I couldn't remember whether Sharon knew or not that he'd offed Rick, but then that she talked about it today. So.
It's really dumb that we've got two characters who are like embroiled in this kind of like death wish, like hate campaign against each other, Gary and Ali, and they both have accidentally kind of killed somebody against their own judgment. Accidental
murderers. Right, let's do the Yasmin and Jeff story. So Alia comes round to try and find out from Yasmin what was up with her the day after Gail saw her crying in the garden, but Jeff kind of turns her away. Yasmin is just busily cleaning away the house because that's where she's finding comfort, and she's been kind of programmed just to clean all the time now. And she tells Jeff, I'm just still really upset about you killing my chicken last week. And he says, oh yeah, I understand. He does a lot of apologising this week, doesn't he? And he bursts down in tears later on in the week as well. But for now he says that just take it easy, don't go to work. I'm sorry, you'll be all right here at home. Just make sure that I've got my dinner on the table and the house is spotless when I get back.
It's got meat in it.
Yeah, she's not going to make that mistake twice. So Alia comes into work and checks with Jeff there if Yasmin's okay, and says, well, look, Gail says she was crying earlier, and he's like, yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. So when Alia goes over to Yasmin's house later, having told Jeff that she's got a dental appointment, Yasmin tells her about the chicken dying, but she doesn't tell her the whole truth. She doesn't say about Jeff killing
Charlotte,
about him killing her. So Alia says, look, you need a bit of cheering up. Let's go out. What do they agree to go shopping, or is it to a spa or something? I can't remember. And Yasmin is hesitant about going out, but agrees in the end. However, she does the classic soap thing of leaving her phone behind, and we see that Jeff is trying to ring her to find out where she is, or how she is. When he comes home later, he's expecting to find her there, but the house is empty, and he starts acting all worried.
He thinks that she's finally left him because deep down inside, well, not even deep,
I think
he knows that she would be perfectly within her.
Yeah, he maybe went a bit too far last week.
Yeah.
So she comes home later, and he's basically turned the house upside down looking for her passport because he's worried there she's done a bunk, maybe gone back to India, or gone to live with
abroad.
Gone to her family or whatever. And he starts wailing that he's sorry, and she forgives him, and it, similar to after the magic box incident, he manages to make it so that he's the victim in all of this.
Yep.
We got a little Toya scene in this episode on Monday as well, with Alia going back to her flat and finding Toya there, lost down a YouTube black hole of crazy cat videos. And wise counsellor Toya says, you need to be careful what you say around Yasmin, because you could push her further away. £50, please, for that consultation.
She's perfectly right. And when she said this, I immediately, in my mind, went, yes, I'm so glad Coronation Street is doing this properly, because they've done it so well up to this point. And then when we had Gail overhearing Yasmin crying, I was thinking, okay, Alia is going to rescue her now, etc., etc. That'd be really nice. I hope that happens. But now I realise that would be completely the wrong thing to happen. Because if you've ever seen anybody in your life be abused like this, you know that they won't listen to you. You tell them what's happening and they won't listen to you because they don't. Because partly they're in love with the person, and partly they're scared to admit what's going on. There's so many different reasons why, especially I'm talking about women here because that's my experience, why women won't leave an abusive partner. And it sometimes, they say it takes on average 7-9 times for a woman trying to leave for them actually to leave. So I'm glad that, and I hope they explore this a bit more, and I really hope that Alia makes a drastic gesture to try to get Yasmin to leave, because there've already been lots of conversations with the two of them where she's trying to let Yasmin know that this is wrong.
Yeah. But
Yasmin's not really ever listened to her. I really hope that she makes a big gesture and gets rebuffed by Yasmin. Yeah. Because and that Yasmin sort of wants to leave and then doesn't. I don't know. I know that people are getting sick of this, but it really is how this goes.
The rest of Monday's episode is just Jeff, wheedling his way back into Yasmin's affections and apologising and getting a takeaway. And...
Well, no. He says, I'll get a takeaway. Then he says he's sorry about Charlotte. He goes into speed dial. He says he's horrible to Alia. And then he goes somewhere else to get the takeaway. Yeah,
he goes to get some chips instead.
So why was he in speed dial?
Well, he's got this stash of money later, hasn't he? So yes. I'm kind of assuming that he's been pilfering speed dial funds and stashing it away in the house somewhere. Is he going to
frame Alia for stealing money?
Possibly. So Wednesday, we see Jeff using some of this cash to buy Tim breakfast in the cafe. And then the rest of the story then is more to do with these bad reviews again. So last week we had, I can't remember whether it was confirmed or not that it was Jeff that wrote this nasty 1-star review. I think, but yeah, it's supposed to be obvious. And then there's another review that comes up on Wednesday. And because she's had a little headbutting with Ray earlier on in the episode, Alia suspects that he's trying to discredit the rival speed dial by writing all these horrible reviews. So she wants to kind of dig a bit deeper or have it out with Ray and say, stop, this isn't fair. Jeff goes, if she does that, she's going to realise that it's wasn't me. Jeff, and she might discover it's me. So he recommends that she just lets
Don't do that.
lets it drop. You don't want to risk him. You don't want to risk winding him up further. So just let it lie.
Jeff also offers to pay for Tim and Sally's wedding.
Oh yes, he does, doesn't he?
Because yet again, another couple on Coronation Street got married, and they need to get married again because it didn't work.
Lots of wedding stuff this year.
When you have a wedding and it just doesn't take, you got to do it again.
Back at home, Jeff's talking to Yasmin and about this whole review situation, and he thinks that she's making up all this review stuff, or he says that he's trying to make Yasmin say, "Don't worry about it." And in fact, I think that she's a bit paranoid, and she's. I don't know whether he's implying that she's writing the reviews herself, or whether it was just him saying that she's getting more het up than she needs to be. But really, she's just embarrassed about all the complaints that the speed dial's getting, and she's projecting it onto Ray. And Yasmin tries to disagree with him, but he basically tells her to shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, woman. Everything's fine. But yeah, he's trying to make out that Alia's what was it? It's just that Alia's being unreasonable, or Alia's being paranoid about it, or just making sure Yasmin knows that
It wasn't him.
It wasn't him, and people aren't happy with Alia at the bistro, and maybe the bistro at speed dial, and maybe we should get rid of her. I don't know.
Yasmin tries to disagree with him, but he tells her to shut up.
Yeah, exactly. So this was okay this week. I mean, it was a decent enough follow up to the big drama last week with the chickens.
Yeah, we've basically said everything.
Yeah, I like the little bit. I can't remember. Was it Wednesday's episode where we got to see Yasmin looking through the bedroom window? And it looked like the window frame was like prison bars.
Yeah,
for her.
prison bars, and like she's removed from the action of the street. She can only watch it from afar because she no longer has a real human relationship with any of her friends and family.
Well, there wasn't anything this week that I remember where Jeff was, discouraging her from going outside. I know he said don't come to work on Monday, but
he keeps saying that she's got a bad back.
Which she has, because she winced last week, but. It was okay, this stuff. But,
well, the thing about it is that it's not going to be... This is what it's like. It's not relentless. The person who's doing the abuse is not relentlessly evil and horrible the whole time. No, I think they're doing a pretty good job of showing that he's not evil to everyone. Like when he offered to pay for Tim and Sally's wedding, he came across as being genuine and nice and lovable. Well, this is what they do. He's obviously... You present a different front to the rest of the world than you do to your partner.
Yeah.
And so when they try to say, this guy is abusing me, everyone will be like, but what do you mean? He's really... How could he be? He's like the nicest guy. You can't imagine. Can you imagine him hurting a fly?
Yeah.
Right, stay off. On Monday, Jade comes over to the garage and she wants to know when they can arrange for her to see Hope again. Tyrone says, I'll see what I can do. He asks Fizz later. Fizz is like, no, I don't want to anymore. Jade shows up at the door.
Well, she had such a horrible experience at the craft fair and everything.
Well, when she got drawn out of all the pictures, it was very sad.
It was. I don't blame Fizz at all. And she's saying, look, we only agreed to do this to keep Hope happy, and we need to do it through all the official channels and everything. We don't want to be tempting fate by organising all these off the record unofficial meetings.
Let's use up these social workers' valuable time with our petty, stupid family issues when children are actually being abused. They've got nothing else to do. Jade shows up at the door and Tyrone's like, please could you go away? She starts crying and saying it's her birthday and she's lost her grand's bracelet. She's just got all this sad things that seem to happen.
Such a terrible time.
It's like, think about it this way. This is what I always say to people who say they're having a bad day and they give me a list of things. Isn't it better to get it all over and done with at once? Why would you want to spread this out over a week? What, you want it to happen every day for the rest of the week? No, get it all out of the way now. Then you can have the rest of the week off. Anyway, gives her a hug. Hope badgers Tyrone about inviting Jade round for tea and says, oh, you deserve more than...
No, she's made her a birthday card, doesn't she? A homemade birthday card, and she's like, we should give her more than that. We should get her a present. So Tyrone sends her upstairs and kind of says, well, we'll see what we can do. And then he starts looking at presents for her online because he's
an idiot.
He's just like trying to please everybody, really. and
you know what happens when you try
be
to do
Mr. Nice
that.
Guy.
On Wednesday, Fizz and Evelyn both think Tyrone's being stupid. I agree with them.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Fizz eventually relents and says, go and give her this bracelet at the cafe, but I'm not coming. So they have a meet up. Evelyn's there too. She spends the whole time with her head permanently rotated to the side so she won't have to look at Jade. And,
Yeah, she's there to monitor what's going on and because I think Jade could be like dripping her poison in and manipulating Tyrone, and he wouldn't realise at all.
He has to be supervised because he's such an idiot. If I was Evelyn, I'd let him.
He's just very gullible.
I'd let him give her the bracelet, then I'd take him home and Hope, and I'd drown them both in the bath together because obviously there would be something defective with the genes. And then I would get my tubes tied and swear to never have another child again.
But Hope and Tyrone aren't even related.
All right, then Ruby. But Ruby's sweet.
I loved Evelyn going on about how nice Tyrone was, and just the way that Maureen Lipman delivered those lines when she was like, "It's nice. You're just so nice, aren't you, Tyrone?" Like you using it as an insult against him.
Everything's an insult when Evelyn says it in the right way.
Yeah.
Jade goes over to the garage to apologise for being a pain in the bum, I suppose. Says, Tyrone, you're a nice guy. She's being all needy and sad. And then he says, I don't hate you, which apparently is the most erotic thing she's ever heard because she kisses him.
I liked how Evelyn had been using nice as an insult, and then when she says, oh, you're so nice, it's like, yeah, it's supposed to be...
Here we go.
Yeah.
She goes back home after him, and he's like, what the hell was that? And she says, well, we should just be together, it makes sense. And he says, I wish I'd never met you, get out of my house. And Fizz comes in just at this moment, and Jade's like, oh, we kiss each other. Oh, we're in love. Or, I don't know, she's just throwing things at the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah,
Tyrone
basically.
sase, I'm going to stare at you to the second episode begins.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't immediately go, no, hang on a minute, we didn't kiss, you kissed me. He does this classic end of scene just...
He's like, get the Optrex out, this is going to be half an
What
hour.
actually did happen here?
He's saying no, she's saying yes, and she says, you're not going to win, Fizz.
Yes.
Fizz says, look,
She stands up to her, doesn't
she's like,
she?
shut up, Jade, she's such an annoying character, I wish she'd never been in the show. And it doesn't make sense that you're John's daughter, and I wish she would go away. And then they say, let's get Hope in, and we'll stand opposite side of the room, and we'll both call her at the same time, and whoever she comes to, that will be her family.
Yeah, come to the one you love. Come on, Hope.
Come on, Hope. Come on, Hope.
I've got a box of matches.
I've got a lighter. It's more convenient. So she runs off to Hope, runs off to Fizz, and sides with her mum and her dad, and says, I don't like you anymore, basically.
It's because she's decided...
I think she saw the havoc and Jade arguing with Tyrone and stuff, because she obviously has a bit of more of a soft spot for her dad than her mum.
Yeah, she said you kissed... I don't think she liked the idea that she kissed Tyrone. And she said you lie, don't you? She called her a liar, which is a bit pot calling the kettle black. Yeah.
So Jade's distraught because she realises she's lost. She starts saying to Fizz, "You're more boring than watching paint dry," which
I think she just went on the Digital Spy forum and found the Fizz Stape thread on there and got some of the choicest
I think
insults.
she's behind most of the posts on that thread. She leaves in tears. So Fizz and Tyrone say, hooray, we'll never see her again. And we thought that was a soap phrase of doom, but apparently it seems as though...
Well, I mean, I don't think this is spoiler, because usually when the actors say they're leaving, we can say so they're leaving, and Lottie Henshaw has indeed tweeted the classic, I had such a lovely time on Coronation Street, thank you everybody, blah blah blah.
Yeah, we don't like to do spoilers, but it does seem to me as though we are supposed to think that this is over and done with, but it really does not feel like it's concluded at all.
No, it hasn't, and if it has, then it feels a bit weak.
Not even a bit, Michael. Incredibly anticlimactic. This is a woman who had a go bag in her attic with tickets to take the kid abroad, and now she's dissolved into trying to steal this woman's husband and crying when the kid won't give her a bracelet for her birthday.
I mean, the story could have ended with the 3-4 weeks ago when we had Fizz attacking Jade, and then there could have been some kind of
There were so many
stalemate
bits.
there, but
Yeah,
they've
that's the
added
point.
this extra little bit.
Yeah, that's the point. There have been so many points at which this story could have climaxed in a satisfactory way.
And this
that
has just felt rushed
that
to
would
me.
have justified Jade as being a villain, because at the moment she feels like such a pathetic villain.
And I'm still not sure whether we're supposed to believe her or not. Like, she's...
I don't know. It feels like they tried to humanise her at the last minute, and it didn't really work at all.
Yeah. I mean, she hasn't done any like really evil stuff. She when she kissed Tyrone, it was kind of she was desperate and she was unloved, and she's on her own in the world.
And
although she's still got this mum who knows.
Yeah,
what's
what
going
did her
on with
mum
her.
tell her about her dad? We still don't really know anything. They've brushed all of her motivation under the carpet, which is silly considering how much time we've spent with this character and her building up to what she's been doing. Like, from the very first scene that we saw her in, when she was getting Hope to draw a picture of Mummy on fire or whatever it was,
and run over by a roller coaster.
We've seen her plotting and scheming, and at the end of the day, it's all come to absolutely nothing.
Well, she's
done nothing.
They ended up having just the soap cliche of her trying to snog Tyrone, and we wondered at the beginning, is she going to end up trying to steal Tyrone away? And then they didn't go down that route, and it felt a bit fresher, and maybe they are trying to do that. But then, like I said, it did maybe feel like she was just doing it because she's desperate and unloved.
This storyline was crying out for a panto villain.
Yeah. And
what we got was a crying childminder.
She was a good panto villain at first, then she lost it a bit at the end, I felt.
What did she do?
And what I felt, what really kind of got my goat, and I was a bit disappointed with this week, is how quickly Hope changed sides. Blimey, she's fickle.
I know.
She's been demon child for the past year and a half or so, all the way through this story, which has been 4 or 5 months. She's been Jade this, Jade that. I want to live with Jade. I hate Mummy. Mummy, I don't love you, Mummy. Jade's the best thing since
mercurial child.
Since sliced bread with fish fingers and beans. And Jade does one thing this week, kiss Tyrone, and I was thinking, maybe Hope wouldn't feel that was too bad, because she likes.
I don't know.
She likes
Children
Tyrone.
are very protective about their families, aren't they?
But we've not been led to believe that. We've been led to believe that Hope would happily oust Fizz from the family. And if Jade is kissing Tyrone, then this, in Hope's eyes, could be the perfect opportunity for Fizz to leave, and they could have been the family that she wanted. So when she turns around and says, "You're a liar, you kissed Daddy, I hate you," I was like, oh, is that all it took?
I know. Should have done this earlier.
I was wondering, honestly, whether she was pretending. And when Jade went out the house, kind of in defeat, I was wondering whether Hope would run round the back door and then go off with her or something. And this is all part, and they'd concocted this plan together. But
no.
But there wasn't anything. It seems like she's just.
Here's my question.
Given up.
Is Hope still a pyromaniac?
Yeah, I assume so.
Well, God.
What I really, really did like about this, though, was Fizz standing up to Jade. Because I love Fizz. I think Fizz is fantastic, but she can be a bit.
The head with a
well, she did that.
Board.
She did that, and that was kind of a moment of anger, and then she was like, "Oops, I shouldn't have done that." But with this, she didn't need to, and she knew what she was doing. Sometimes Fizz can be a bit wet, I know that, but she wasn't this week. She was the mummy lion standing up for her daughter and her family, and was like, "Yeah, we've won," and the triumphant smirk that Fizz and Tyrone give each other when Jade's sobbing out the house was brilliant. I thought that she was wonderful this week.
You've won the war, but what's your prize?
Hope.
Yeah.
So yeah, I did really, really love that.
I felt like this was a massive red herring of a storyline that never really went anywhere. Could have been really epic. It could have been really cool and interesting and headline grabbing, and you could have had. Why didn't they go there? I don't understand. What
I was ready for it to end.
They're scared of getting more Ofcom complaints. For one week there's somebody's killing a chicken, and the next week somebody's kidnapping a child. But why not?
I was ready for it to end. I said when they had the week where Fizz attacked Jade and where there was the whole bag in the attic and everything, that could have been the climax. Then it could have ended.
It just felt like a series of small stakes happenings that ended with a woman crying in the street.
Mm.
I couldn't see that any time I want to go outside on a Friday night.
Not allowed to go outside on a Friday night, Gemma.
Why?
Tied to the sofa doing a podcast.
Yeah.
I don't think it could be the end. But then, you know, we said that about Kirsty when she got shipped off to jail. Like, Kirsty's going to be back.
Do you know what I mean? It feels like they've just... Yeah, but...
Or if we have Kirsty and Jade combining forces later this year and coming back to wreak havoc on the Dobbs Steak household, that could be good.
Unless they've got a reason and something big to bring her back for. I just don't know why you would bring her back after this.
For an epic conclusion.
I know, but why not do it now?
Got Talent Week.
But why not do it now?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know.
We don't
Maybe
know why...
it needs to tie into something else that's going to be happening later on this year. I don't know.
I'm unimpressed with this storyline as a whole.
I would say I enjoyed it on the whole, but it's not without its faults.
But you know, it didn't have a story arc, did it? It didn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There was no climax. There was no cliffhanger or anything. It was just a series of like various things that happened, like, and then they never went anywhere. Like, Hope's run away from home. That's right, she is. Jade's got tickets to go to France. Oh, but she's not going to use them.
I know what you mean. What you mean. But the only other thing I was wondering about this, and I don't know whether I missed it, is does Fizz know about the garage ownership? Was that brought up? Do you remember? Because I was waiting.
I think she's too busy worrying about other stuff.
Because that all happened last week when she and the kids were still off awake. Didn't Tyrone come back early or something? And it was like, what's Fizz going to do? How am I going to break it to her? And unless I missed it, and I very well may have done, that hasn't been brought up yet.
Nothing gets past me.
That could have a lot gets past your Coronation Streetwise if you on your iPad. That could have added another extra layer of something to this.
Could have done, couldn't it? But it didn't.
When's she gonna find out? I don't know.
But doesn't Ray have lots of plans?
Yeah, we'll come to that later on. I think that there's an email that will
okay, right.
will get us talking more about Ray. Yeah, Friday.
Is this me?
This is you. What's
on
Nina
Friday,
been up to today?
Carla's trying to hint to Nina that she's really not being a very considerate house guest. There are various issues that she brings up, like the fact that Nina's sewing everywhere, the fact that she doesn't put the lid back on the toothpaste. Roy later brings up the fact that she keeps using cups. It's just not working out. She says, "Why don't you go out tonight with your mates?" And Nina's like, "No, I don't want to. I want to be alone." Should have guessed from what she was wearing. Carla and Roy talk to Nina together, and Roy's still mad about how messy everything is.
No, they talk about Nina. They're down in the cafe, and Carla's trying to get him to say something, but he doesn't really want to.
Well, he basically is not really helping out because he keeps saying, "Well, you'll know better."
Yeah.
And Carla's like, "Look, it's not about me. We're talking about Nina right now." Carla then thinks, like all adults, that all children are the same age and they all love each other and want to hang out together and have the same interests because they're the same similar age. So she goes to ask Amy, Asher and Simon, "Can you take Nina out with you when you go to this gig that you're going to, Love and Strife apparently?" And they're like, "No, I don't want to because she's weird."
Amy says that she quite likes her.
Amy's weird herself. I would think that they would bond over Ouija boards, Amy and
Yeah, I mean we've called Amy Wednesday Addams in the past. I think there's definitely could be something there. There's only a couple of years in there.
If Amy started latching on to Nina and trying to dress like a goth. So I think that's something a girl of her age would be quite prone to do.
Yeah.
Because you're still looking for who you are when you're that age.
Yeah,
and if you see someone who's a bit older than you and they're a bit cool, you immediately want to be like them. And I think that would make Asher mad, probably.
And Nina does need a friend, and we've been saying this for a few months now, who is Nina going to latch onto? Because she's been very much, either on her own or just in scenes with Roy. So maybe, Nina and Amy could be a good partnership. Best friend,
to be honest.
And with Amy hanging around with Emma as well, that there could be Nina and Emma, and that's very much like opposites, isn't it?
Yeah, I can imagine
that could there could be some comedy come out of that.
I can imagine Nina just liking Emma because of how weird she is in her own little way.
Yeah, they're both eccentric in their own way.
They are incredibly eccentric. Nina doesn't really want to go to this gig when Carla brings it up to her. She wants to go bat watching. And me and Michael were very confused about this because we thought that it had been established in the show previously that Roy and Nina had gone bat watching together.
I'm sure like 2 weeks ago somebody was asking where Roy and Nina were, and
They
Carla
were
had told them
looking
they'd
for
gone bat
pipistrelle bats.
watching. Yeah.
They did. They even said
are we crazy? Are we making this up?
They even said pipistrelle bats.
So yeah.
Unless we both had a dream about a specific type of British mammal and 2 Coronation Street characters, which is perfectly likely to have happened, to be honest.
Yeah, but anyway, for the purposes of today's episode,
Apparently
they have never been bat watching.
Well, maybe they have
before.
been, and Roy's just in a grump and he doesn't want to invite her. But anyway, Carla gets Roy and tries to get them to go together. You said from the pub.
Yeah, Carla goes to the pub, gets Roy.
Roy was in the pub.
Yeah. And
Okay.
says, come back home with me.
So they have a little chat over tea, and she says, I want to ask to come, but I thought you think I'm annoying. And he says, no, I don't. You can come. And then they go off to the abandoned warehouse, and they start talking together about Hayley, and Roy's telling her all about Hayley, and she's saying, oh, I wish I could have known her. And then they recite a bat poem together. and then they listen to the bat detector, which I said sounded like somebody eating crisps in an empty cinema, and you said sounded like somebody diarrheaing on the toilet.
It did. It sounded a bit like somebody pebble dashed in the toilet. But
There's no romance in your soul.
That is what bat detectors sound like, because we've done some bat detecting once, haven't we? Where was it? In Cornwall we went down there. That was it was quite a fun little activity.
I really like that, although it was quite a lot of us walking around behind a man going, oh, that was one. That was definitely one of the rarest bats of all. There's only 5 of these in the whole country. Did you see that one? No? Well, it was definitely there.
I quite liked this stuff, and not much happened really. It was all just bonding, wasn't it? Which we need, and we need more character
no point moaning
moments
about
and
this. This is
everything.
what we've been saying all along. More character development stuff.
Yeah, I thought it was nice.
They didn't need to discover like the last Mancunian big-eared bat in existence.
I think that they
make the front page of the Weatherfield Gazette.
When they went to that abandoned warehouse for the bat watch, I was waiting for her to get a Ouija board out and try and contact the spirits of Andy and Vinny, because it looks very much like the place where they met their grisly demise.
It would have been better if Roy had said, "Oh yes, Hayley this, Hayley that. I wish you'd met her," and Nina could have gone, "Okay, cool. Well, here's the Ouija board. We can just ask her questions, anything you like, as long as it's yes or no."
Yeah, nice stuff. Let's get a story out of it now.
Don't need a story.
I want to see.
Well, you might want one, but okay. Craig Toyer, Imran. Go on.
Oh, it's me. Craig's got a giant slice of cake, a lovely looking bit of rainbow cake.
Why has he got such a big slice of cake?
It's because it's there.
It wasn't his birthday.
I can't remember why there's a giant cake.
It was a comically large slice of cake.
Yeah, you should have seen the bit of cake that we had in the staff room today at school.
What was it?
Mahusiv. It was a massive chocolate cake. It was like 4 layers. Anyway, Craig refuses this because he reckons that he's getting a bit too big. He's a bit on the tubby side. And Beth also, during the course of this conversation, notes that he doesn't really talk about his friends at work anymore. And he's like, "Oh, Mum, it's not a youth club, it's work." But there's clearly something going on where he doesn't have any policeman friends. Weird. It was the headline in the Gazette today was about the shoplifting going down by 17% or something, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And Brian's proudly saying to someone or other, "Look at this," and then what do you know?
There's shoplifting.
He goes and gets shoplifted himself. Irony or what? But don't worry, PC Tinker is on the case, but oh no, he can't actually run very fast, and the dastardly woman gets away.
She gets away with 28 stamps, and she almost gets away with a copy of Trout and
Carp or Trout?
Weekly.
Carp and Trout, I don't know.
Carp or Trout, it's just silhouettes of fish and you have to guess.
I think that Brian should have had a lingering look at that and went, "Oh, Carp, Julie Carp."
Oh, I know which one I'd rather
The one that
have.
got away. Sorry, Kathy. Anyway, Craig starts
He
his
says he's a
New
GBB.
Year. Oh yeah, he's a GBB, which is not a Great British Bake Off.
That's GBB GBBO.
Maybe that's where that cake came from. It's a ginger bouncy
Beach ball.
Yeah. So he needs to lose weight. He's decided. So he's going to go jogging. There's a scene in the flat where Imran and Toya and Ryan are there.
Coronation Street writers seriously, genuinely expected to believe that a bunch of blokes who work as police officers have the best nickname they can think of to give a big fat ginger policeman is GBB.
I know.
I don't believe that for 1 second.
Tame.
That would be the least of it. That would be what the ladies from the canteen would call him, as like a friendly nickname compared to what they would call him in the locker rooms.
I know. Anyway, Imran encourages Craig to go, but there's that funny bit at the end of the scene where he's like, he is going to die.
That was hilarious. He did a really funny look right before he said that.
And then
Toya and Imran, again, I would say unsung heroes of Coronation Street, but it seems like the Corrie writers are the only people that don't understand how popular they are, because everywhere you look on the internet, people are saying more Toya, more Jenny, and more Imran. And it's not like we're biased. It's crazy to me, because everybody knows that we love those three characters. So
everyone else is saying what's going on with these.
And it's not like I only seek out information that confirms what I already believe, because I quite hate reading people's opposite opinions to mine. But everybody agrees that these are the three very interesting characters, all talented actors. Why are they not in more scenes? And now it seems like they are in scenes, but they're only going to be supporting roles in Craig's story, which is fine because I really like Craig. But hello, can we have some more stories for these really great characters?
You never know. You never know. It might turn into more of their story.
Well, I'm liking it so far.
Because now Imran is being strong-armed by Toya into going jogging with Craig.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm in the peak physical fitness, and Toya's like, yeah, right.
Bless.
So, Craig's got a jogging buddy. I thought before that James was Craig's jogging buddy, because there was I remember last year there was a scene where they went running together.
Yeah,
and I don't know whether this has been forgotten about, or whether back then he was also worried about his weight, and then he's like, Christmas came along and he kind of fell off that. But
I am going to point out, as somebody who's learned this from bitter experience, there is nothing more frustrating than trying to go for a run with somebody who is faster and better at it than you are.
Yeah. So is he on an equal footing with Imran, do you think?
I don't know.
Imran's got those freakishly long legs. He's probably just going to...
Freakishly long legs?
Outpace him.
I don't know. Imran seems like he's all talk to me, and perhaps he might be a bit less fit than he thinks he is.
I think you're right.
But I don't think that Craig's going to shape up much better, to be frank.
No, I think they make
This is a very interesting storyline, because I don't know that we have had a character tackle their weight so directly since we had the Shelley and Charlie Stubbs storyline, which was part of a domestic abuse storyline in which he was belittling her and undermining her confidence by saying that she was fat.
They had, I can't think so either, but they have had an awful lot of let's get fit stories, and I don't know whether it's Steve
and that lot trying to stop themselves from getting heart attacks. They've
had
Tim had his heart attack, didn't he?
Yeah, and there was something, I don't know, 3-4 years ago where Chesney decided for a fortnight that he was going to get fit, and he was lifting weights and things. Do you remember? And I think it was just like Sam Ashton decided that he wanted to get a bit buffer, so they decided
particularly alibi.
So they decided, to make Craig do this, and I just wonder whether this is Coulson saying, "I want to get fitter. Please, can you make it part of a story?" And the writer's like, yes, I haven't known what to do with Craig. We don't know what story to give him since the OCD thing. Let's latch onto that.
This is a very delicate subject to talk about.
And there was all the gym stuff as well, wasn't there? There's been an awful
gym?
Well, when they had the gym and Coronation Street, there's been an awful lot of let's get fit stories.
Yes, but the point of the matter is that this can never really have a physical manifestation on screen, because these things in real life take a lot of time to happen. But like, if you want to change yourself from being overweight to being like standard BMI, you have to put a lot of work and effort into it, and it doesn't always work.
It doesn't,
the way you want it to, and it's very, very difficult. And I'm talking again from bitterly one experience in this matter. You can decide that you want to do it, and I know that people say that you like being fat is a choice, and yes, it is a choice, but it's not a choice that it's a choice that you have to make every single day. Like they say something like you make like 2,000 decisions a day about what you're going to eat, and it sounds like a crazy amount, but all the time you're trying to decide, and one small decision now, it snowballs. Like you have to keep deciding to do it all the time, every day, for days and days and weeks and weeks.
Well, you know, if you've seen some,
if you don't know how hard it is, then good for you. But most people probably do.
If you've seen some recent pictures of Colson Smith, he is looking a bit more svelte recently.
I don't really. This is the thing. I don't want to set anybody up. I don't want to say anything. I think Colson Smith's a lovely guy.
Oh, he is. He's lovely.
There's nothing wrong with how he looks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want anybody to be talking about my weight on a podcast, or talking about whether I should lose weight, or whether I'm going to lose weight, or whatever, or whether I'm look bigger or smaller. Whatever he wants to do is fine. This storyline is interesting, and I want only the best for Craig and Colson. I'm interested to see where this goes. If it was as simple as literally just you decide to do it and then you lose weight, that would be, and I would be like, yeah, this is going to be a good fun storyline, but there's got
to be more to the storyline than he's going to go off jogging and lose weight. I think,
but if that is the case,
there's no story there.
But that is that's a really interesting and powerful and motivational thing. Like, you and I both spend a lot of time on Reddit looking at before and after pictures or progress pictures of people who've gone, look, this is me a year ago, look, and now I've lost weight and I feel great and I look great.
Yeah.
I think I don't know where they're going with this. I'm assuming that they're going to do a training montage style thing, and then Colson will turn up being slightly smaller than he is now, and it will be great.
Well, I think
I'm taking it a bit to heart and going, I've tried this myself and it's really, really hard. And if you don't make it, don't beat yourself up, because it's bloody difficult.
I think that Coronation Street should jump on the latest bandwagon of intermittent fasting, because that's what we've been doing for a while.
Don't bother doing it. It's a load of old crap.
No, I've been doing intermittent fasting since November, and I've lost 2 stone. So I think that's... I
want to look at your chart again.
That's the numbers don't lie.
They do.
So I'm just saying that it's worked for me. So
I've done it
I think our Craigie should try this.
How long have I been doing it?
You've only been doing it for a week or 2.
I've been doing it... How long have I been doing it?
I don't know.
I've been doing it for like a week and a half.
Yeah.
I've gained 3.5 pounds.
It goes up and down. It's fine. You just got to stick with it.
It's not fair.
My weight chart has definitely not been down. But I've been doing this for... How long have I been doing it then? 4 months, is it?
November. You started.
Yeah, so I've been doing this for 4 months, and it's been working for me. So
intermittent fasting, just to explain if anyone is interested, which I'm sure you're not, we don't really have time to talk about it, is when you just don't eat anything for a certain amount of time, and it can be as little as, like, you don't eat for, I don't know, what is it, 12 hours?
Yeah, well, 16 hours is kind of the minimum that people say that
and
is supposed to work.
It's not just starving yourself for a certain amount of time every day. It actually has scientific research to do with the insulin levels and how your body reacts to food, and your levels go up and down throughout the day. So if it only blah 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 blah. If you're really interested, there's a book. Where's the book though?
I don't know.
If you're really interested and you want to try this for yourself, or you don't believe it and it sounds like quack science, get yourself a book called The Complete Guide to Fasting by Jason Fung, MD. Look it up, because don't just listen to a pair of idiots on a podcast talking about something. And if you're going to do any kind of exercise or diet, you need to talk to your doctor.
I think exercise is probably better for you than intermittent fasting. But anyway, it's worked for me.
No, not necessarily. You should do both anyway. You should be exercising.
You should. Anyway.
Not podcasting. It's bad for your health.
This is looking like it could be good. I was saying as well that I think that I wonder whether we're going to see some of the bullying going on that Craig is experiencing, and there really do seem like there are parallels between this story and James's story, because there's just kind of bubbling away at the surface is the possibility that all of James's teammates are going to turn against him, and then we've got Craig, a friend of James, because they were playing that table football match earlier, weren't they? He's also got his colleagues that aren't treating him nicely, and I think we're going to see crossover between this and James's football-y homophobia story. And I am still that prediction that I made at the beginning of the year, that new couple, James and Craig, I think that they could make Craig gay and go out with James. I'm still not saying that that's not going to happen, so I'm sticking with that.
Well, they make gay actors straight, so
quite
they could do it. Any character, any actor. Any
and with Bethany left, Craig is down a friend. Who else is Craig even friends with them? We don't even know because we've barely seen Craig the last year or so. So it might be nice to pair him up with James, even if it is just a friend.
It'd make more sense that he was friends with Nina, like we said before.
Yeah,
because he's like quirky, artistic girls before.
Well, yeah, Nina, James, and Craig could make a nice little.
That would be really fun, actually.
Trio of kind of normal-looking people, and not just the hunky, the sexy.
Yeah, not like soap stars pull out.
Yeah,
people.
Exactly.
Like normal. Mind you, they're all really quite.
I know, but I'd quite like to see that. And finally,
the thing is about somebody who's average looking on a soap. That in real life they ain't really average looking, are they?
So anyway, this could be fun. It means more possibility of Imran scenes. I also think I don't know why Toya isn't getting on her baseball cap and going on jogging, because we know that she's been
fit.
A jogger in the past. I want to see the baseball cap again.
They're all well fit.
Speaking of James, Gemma, he had a few little scenes today, didn't he? I don't know whether there's much worth mentioning here. There's still tensions bubbling away between him and Ed saying, "Look, I just worried about what's going to happen if this comes out." But then it turns into Aggie's won her Golden Heart Award. Like, I think honestly, nobody must have entered this.
And I want to know how they're gonna obviously it's not the same as the Weatherfield Good Samaritan Award. Surely there can't be
2 awards in Weatherfield.
Surely there can't be a ceremony where they stand up and they say, we now like to announce the winner of the Golden Heart Award. It is Aggie. Aggie, if you all remember from our inspirational video that we played right before we announced the nominees for this award, watched a man die on the floor at Christmas. Well done, Aggie. You've won an award.
She stood up to Derek, didn't she, with his gun? I don't know. Whenever somebody on Coronation Street is won one of these awards, it always feels like it's for a not great reason.
A participation award. I thought it was our generation who's supposed to be getting the participation
I think
awards.
That the judges are just biased against Coronation Street characters, honestly.
It's her first day working back at paediatric A&E. There's a lot of tension between Ed and James. James keeps sniping at him, and James gets mad when Ed raises a toast to his wonderful wife, who's the apple of his eye, and James is like, "Oh, well, you'll never be proud of me." Also, definitely at some point somebody says she killed a man, which was quite funny because that's what I said she did. It's not very sensitive.
I think she says it.
Somebody definitely says it to her.
Does she? Okay, fine. Well, there we go. That's this week's Coronation Street. As I said at the beginning, I thought it was okay. We had a wedding. We had a tease of something to come with Gary and Ali. A bit of Ryan as well, which was good. I enjoyed the drama of Jade going in for the kiss with Tyrone, but it just didn't have quite the payoff that I wanted. But I did really, really like Fizz stepping up for her, and on a week that was just okay, and there weren't necessarily any huge characters that stood out for me. I'm gonna give Fizz credit here, and Fizz is going to be my character of the week for that one scene. I was just kind of looking at everything else. I can't say that it's Daniel or Bethany because they're a bit like, oh come on, we've seen all this before. Nina and Roy were nice, and I can understand people giving those character week, but no, for actually standing up to and being, as I said, like the mummy lion and getting that moment of triumph. That was my moment of the week, I think. So yeah, Fizz character of the week.
What's your score in it?
I am going to give this straight down the middle-ish 3 members of Toya and Imran's polyamorous relationship.
Nice number. Exactly the right amount. I'm going to give it 3 smelly breath stapes, I think.
Oh yeah, that's what Hope said to Stape.
She did. And your breath
Jade.
smells.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate child insult, isn't it? If a child says that to you, you just get crushed.
I thought that you would give it 3 exhausted matriarchs this week after that line that Audrey said that you enjoyed earlier in the week.
I don't know who to give my character of the week to, though.
Oh, you got to choose.
I've got to pick, have I?
You do. I've got to pick.
I know I'm going to pick just somebody to annoy you. It's like a protest.
I don't
vote.
mind.
I'm picking Beth because she was in the right the whole time,
Fine.
but nobody bloody listened to her. She's like Cassandra.
I just don't. I think that she just irks me.
Good.
The
Well,
way
she
that
gets
she's
character of the week
vile.
for being the best.
So we both picked characters of the week this week that aren't
Somewhat
exactly it's everyone's favourite. So there we go. Those are the Suits, Corrie. Looking forward to some more high drama next week. I don't think I know very much about what is happening next week, so I'm eagerly anticipating, and I hope that I won't be left disappointed.
Ignorance is bliss.
Right.
Let's move on to the cabin.
Yes, let's do some news.